Hello there. Today I'm going to show you where I live. So I live in France, just north of France here, and I'm going to show you my sisters. I have an input field at the top. I can type the name of my city, which is Lille, and I click here, and you are going to see all the sister cities of Lille. So this is where I am. And this is all the sister cities, often called twin cities or partner cities. It's a type of relationship between two towns, so cultural and trade offers. And Lille has quite a few of them, mostly in Europe, some in Africa, one in Ukraine, stuff like that. And with this website, you can, for example, click Kharkiv in Ukraine and see all its sisters. So that's like a net, and you see Kharkiv has a lot of sister cities in Europe as well, but some in China. Let's see, Jinan. Oh, Jinan has a lot of sister cities. Nagpur, India, Israel, Ethiopia. Let's go back to France, Rennes, and stuff like that. So this is a website which is live. I'm going to put the link in the description, and you can explore and maybe discover which are your sister cities. Let's see Vegas. Oh, not a lot of them for Vegas. León in Mexico, and a place in South Korea. And you can zoom, you can move around, you can see, go back to Vegas, to Mexico, and let's try from Vegas to join Lille. That's a game you can play. Havana is a great pick. Barcelona, Montpellier in France. Let's see. Palermo. Düsseldorf, we saw Düsseldorf before. Düsseldorf is Reading. Nah, Düsseldorf looks like a dead end. Maybe let's go back to Ukraine, Austria. This can take quite a while. Orléans, Treviso. Oh, back to Orléans. You can see that this is really fast. This instruction is going to take some time, but I'm really happy about this game. Try to start from a city and end up somewhere else, and cities can be quite connected. Go to the Netherlands. No, bad call. Stay in Germany. Tourcoing is kind of close. It's close enough, let's say, from this game. I don't remember all the cities that I've clicked, but I am going to check the logs later, because in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I built it. This app is very simple to make with Python and Datastar, and we are going to use 3GS for the globe part. So a lot of good stuff coming. Let's jump into the code. Okay, let's take a look at the code, starting with the HTML that you are going to see first. Classic stuff using Datastar, and we are going to use GlobeGL, which is a library built on 3GS. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Make 3D graphics to render the globe component. Some styling which is required, and then some basic stuff. The main. We are going to define a signal fetching to indicate to the user if the server is processing the request, an indicator on that effect, we are going to position in the center of the screen, some overlay, so the input that you see, and what's important to note here is that the input is defined with a list, cities, see here, that we are going to find again in the data list. But the data list is not yet populated, and as you guessed, we are going to do some merging on the server. And here we have something called, see this syntax, I don't use it often in my videos. It's syntax of Jinja. So when I'm going to call render index.html, I can pass some variables, and I'm going to pass a globe variable. More on that later. At the end, you can find a JavaScript script, which is going to define a web component. This web component, let's take a look at it. It's 100 lines of JavaScript. I'm not going to comment them all. What's important is that this component will have attributes. Well, the current zoom, the current list of cities, the path to draw between the cities, stuff like that. And whenever this component is invoked, or whenever with this function one attribute changes, the web component is going to adapt to these changes. Note that there is no use of shadow DOM here, this is pure HTML. So we initialize the globe. We define the functions to update the variables, the attributes, update places, update arcs, stuff like that, and we end up with the classic define web component. So if we take a look at the source code, for example, let's see here, you can see that I have a big web component here called globe component with a lot of JSON information in it. List of cities, arcs, stuff like that. And inside it will create its own HTML like this. So most of this is how you will do something like that in GlobeGL. I just follow the documents for this. Alright, so we're pretty advanced. We have a web component which we can charge with information, which will render itself. Now let's take a look at the application. Once again, it's going to be something very simple. I am not even using compression here, but I am using Datastar SDK, setting up some logging, and oh yeah, I was using it, my bad. And I am going to load a database. So this is going to be the database of the links and names of every city. Let me show it to you. Data.json, no matching results. So cities is just a list of names, elements like this, the name of the country, the name of the town, the name of the country, the display name that we want to put, latitude, longitude, and the keys of the other cities that are sister to this one. So Berat, Albania will be sister to something like 8 other cities. And I have a big JSON file, which I created, well, it took some time, but the file itself is really simple. there's just that. Just a list of cities, their position, and their links to the others. So, a lot of lines here, but nothing really complicated. And we are going to see that using TinyDB on this database is still efficient enough so that we don't have to worry about it. For the index, I am going to call under template, and as I said, passing the globe component as a variable. So in this case, for the first visit on the website, just an empty web component. Here I have an interesting function called cities. When am I calling cities? If we go back to the HTML, you can see that my input as a data on input, debounce to make it feel better, get cities. And we have a signal that we bind to this input. Standard Datastar stuff. So, when I press the input, the web page will make a request to cities. I will use read signal to get the value of the city signal, and then I will filter the cities that may match what the user has typed. The filter is, you don't have access to SQL stuff, so I just filter with Python, which is really a bad idea, but we are going to see that it's not really a problem, and we are going to return a data list with an ID of cities, which will get merged with this one. So this is how, when I type here, for example, new lot of cities, yo, I have, as you can see here, a data list with only the relevant fields. So you get server filtering like that. Let's take a look here. On the overlay, you can see I filter on the server and return a data list. And the input is bound to the data list, so we get this nice behavior here. What happens now when I press the submit button? I'm going to issue a request passing the value of the city signal. Why am I doing this? Let's see first how it works. But there is something very important here. On any call like this, I'm going to retrieve the value. I'm going to try to find the city in my database. So in my database, get where the display is equal to the value. This is quite efficient because I am controlling the list of entries in the data list. So I know what the value can be. And if there is a city, we can do some computation. So basically, all of this is just retrieving the data that we want, the position of all the cities and stuff like that. And then we create a web component. So the famous globe component that we have defined in our HTMX, the same in our HTMX. In our JavaScript, sorry for that, the same one. And we are going to put the correct data into its attributes. And because it has an ID, it will get merged, it will get updated. And this is how you get this really smooth transition when you click from one point to another. You don't have to reload the page. I can show you the network call when I click here on New York City. Home failed me again. No worries. But basically, I just sent just the web component, and it got merged in place, updated because of the change in its attributes, and that's it. So really, really simple. Because clicking on the value issues a post request, I just have to call merge fragments with the globe, and this is it. Now, you see here that I have if request method equals get. This is quite important because you want to not only use hypermedia because it's cleaner, you want to use it because it's more powerful. And one thing that I wanted is that people could share directly the link to the cities. So for example, I wanted them to be able to type that into the address bar, Paris, and immediately have the Paris view. See? This way, you don't have to share this link, you can share a link to the city of your friend, and it will not have to make any clicks to see the magic. In case you didn't know, Paris is only sister with Rome, and Rome is only sister with Paris because of an old saying that only Rome is worth of Paris and only Paris is worth Rome. Fun trivias. Maybe check your city and tell me if you expected that. So the way we do it is that if the request method equals get, and this is why I used variable globe here, is that we render the whole HTML. We compute the globe, render the whole HTML, put the globe in the right position here, and that's all. So you get shareable links that way, which can be used, I don't know, for marketing or just for the sake of hypermedia, really. Now, the last thing we need to know is how to move from one city to another, clicking them. This is very, very, very simple. To go to a city, we issue the post to a certain URL. Well, because the globe component is not in the Shadow DOM, I can slap some Datastar attributes on it. And for example, for every place, you see that I'm going to put a little SVG. I'm going to put a class, which means that I can style it with CSS as well. I style these and I do the over effect with CSS. Not in the Shadow DOM, a lot of perks. I put the little marker SVG, another CSS class name, some data indicator to indicate that the request is in flight. The request here, let me maybe cut the network. You can see I have this little spinning thing here. Let me put the network back again. Waiting for reconnection. Smooth handling of deconnection and reconnection with Datastar, Auto Reconnect, and Expo Backoff. You get that for free. Use it. And the same behavior, data on click. We change the value of the signal, so this way you can see in the input it gets modified automatically. So nice user feedback here. And post request where I want it to be, which will merge the whole globe component the way I want it. And yeah, well, I didn't want to make a video too long. Let's see, for example, in the logs, what we have done. So this is all the requests that I've done during this video. You see that even using the worst type of database possible, it's still computing quite fast. So less than 0.1 second, which is very interesting. And this is, yeah, you can see everything that I've done here. And how we went from Vegas to Tourcoing at the beginning of the video. So that was our path. As an exercise to the reader, try to find a shorter one. For the CSS, nothing really fancy. Just put the overlay at the top and disable its pointer events. Then re-enable the pointer events on the input inside. With some nice filters, stuff like that. Button, who cares? The indicator, the little spinning SVG, center it on the screen. Its position, so something very simple to do as well. Nice animation and stuff. And then here we have all the stuff that I can style within the globe. So for example, I can say that I want my place's name to be red instead. And I think that I have set up my auto reloading. Everything is live. Yeah, auto reloading on the server, no problem. Red, well, red is a bit aggressive. Let's put that back to white. All right. Paris. No, that's better. I can, this is how I do the nice over effect. Because cities can get a bit cramped. And that's a way to make it look better. I mean, you know what you are supposed to click this way. And I zoomed on the page instead of the globe. Just globe GL being globe GL, but we're not gonna see that. So it works fine. I hope you guys have fun with this. Try to leave a comment. Leave a comment telling me where you live and if you knew your sister cities. I'm going to put it on my website. The link will be in the description as usual. You can see all of the code in the GitHub in the description as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And that's all for today. See ya.